Hey guys, it's Jennifer with celiacinOrlando.com. So today I'm going to teach you how to make a gluten-free Thanksgiving. So maybe you're like me and you have celiac disease, which means you can't eat gluten, or maybe you don't eat gluten by personal preference, or perhaps you have a family, friend, or loved one coming over to your house this holiday season that cannot eat gluten. And so I'm going to show you how to prepare a gluten-free turkey, stuffing, and gravy all from scratch. So let's start. So the first things first, you want to actually make sure that you get a gluten-free turkey. I know that sounds crazy, but some turkeys actually have come pre-basted, which means they inject gluten into them. So you want to make sure that it's not a basted turkey. You can go online and research to find out which turkeys are gluten-free. I went with the Butterball hormone-free turkey, which on their website states that it's gluten-free. And if the turkey comes with one of those gravy packets, you want to throw that out because we're going to make that from scratch. So after you have your turkey, you want to take out the neck from here, and then it usually has the gizzards inside, the cavity over here, and so you want to take those out and you want to clean them. After you clean the gizzards, you want to put them into a pot and fill it with some water, just enough water to cover the top of the gizzards. So we have our neck and our liver and all of our gizzards in here, and we're going to make our own stock. And the stock is going to be used in our stuffing. So I'm going to add to this pan here some chopped celery, carrots, and some onions. So I'm going to add this to the pot. And as you've noticed, I actually chop everything ahead of time. You know, Thanksgiving, there's a lot to do. I actually usually prep all of this the night before Thanksgiving. So all I have to do is pop the bird in the oven the day of Thanksgiving and not worry about any of this. So after we put the vegetables in there, we want to add a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we're going to go ahead and get this to a boil. Okay, so now that we have the stock boiling over here, let me go over the turkey. So we've already, taken everything out, we've cleaned it, we've wiped it down. Now we want to go ahead and put salt all over the bird. So you're just going to put the salt all over the top. You want to get it in the cavities. You just want to get this salt everywhere. Okay, once you're done salting the bird, I actually went ahead and melted about 1 stick of butter here, and I'm just going to go ahead and baste our bird with this butter so it'll rub in the salt as well. This is going to give you the nice crispy outside once you cook the turkey. So as Rachel Ray would call it, she's putting her SPF on her turkeys. Okay, so now we're done with the turkey. I just washed my hands. And let me move on to the stuffing. So, you have to have stuffing. It's Thanksgiving, so you got to throw that stovetop away. It's not going to do anymore because this has to be gluten-free. So what I did was I actually bought a loaf of gluten-free sandwich bread. You can get it at one of your local grocery stores, maybe a health food store. And I chopped it up into little squares, as you can see here. And then I put it in the oven. I baked it at 250 for about 2 hours. And then, as my husband likes to call it, we croutonized them. So they're kind of like croutons. So anyway. So that's what you want to do to get your stuffing ready. So we've got the bread croutonized. And we are going to go ahead and start on the other ingredients for our stuffing. So we're going to keep our bird here and our little stuffing ingredients, and then we are going to start. So like I said, I already prepped all these ingredients, and everything's on my website, celiacinOrlando.com. So you're going to need 12 ounces of bacon, which I put in my food processor and just kind of ground it up. You're going to need some chopped onions and some minced celery, which is also on my blog. And then you're also going to need some green onions minced as well. So that'll all be used here. We're going to go ahead and start our mixture for the stuffing. So let's go ahead and start that. So right now we're cooking our bacon. Like I said, 12 ounces ground. And we're just going to partially cook it until we've got some fat accumulated in the pan here before we add the rest of our ingredients. Okay, so now that I've got my bacon to the point where I want it, it's partially cooked with a little bit of fat in there. I went ahead and turned the temperature down to about low. And now I'm ready to add my, right here, I've already got in my bag some chopped onion and minced celery. So you'll find all the ingredients you need again on my website, celiacinOrlando.com. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to the pan. And I'm going to stir it around until the onions become translucent. So that'll take a couple of minutes here. And as you can see also, we've got our stock finally boiling. So we're going to let that boil for a little bit to give it some flavor. And then once it's done, we'll go ahead and strain that. And so all of this is going to be used in the stuffing. Okay, so we've got our bacon, onions, and celery in here. And now we are going to add some more onions that are actually minced and some green onions that are minced. So we're going to go ahead and add this to the pot. And remember, I already minced this up in my food processor yesterday. So got everything prepped and ready to go. Makes it easy peasy for the day. And then you just want to stir that around and continue to cook it up for about 2 or 3 more minutes. Alright, so now we've got this broth, and remember all this was, you know, the giblets and the gizzards, and then I added some salt, pepper, some onions, some celery, some carrots, some water, and it's been boiling for about 10 minutes. So now I'm going to go ahead and strain it. And remember, if you want to, you can use just gluten-free chicken stock, just purchased at the store, but I like to use what we already have here, so went ahead and discard of the solids. So now you've got your own homemade, extremely hot broth. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side, and let's go ahead and continue on with making the stuffing. Okay, so now we've got our stuffing station, and we are ready to make our stuffing, put it all together. So again, we've got the bread cubes, which we croutonized or dehydrated, and then we have our broth that we made, and then we have our bacon and our vegetable mixture here that we've cooked on the pan. We've got 4 eggs, and you're also going to need about half a cup, maybe a fourth a cup to half a cup of gluten-free flour. I like to use the Bob's Red Mill rice flour. Just remember the flour, you want to make sure it's gluten-free. You don't want to make anybody at your Thanksgiving sick. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our croutons or our gluten-free bread, and we are going to put it here into a bowl just so we can mix it. And then after we put that in here, we're going to add all the ingredients to it. So first we'll start by adding in both our broth mixture that we just made. And remember, if you prefer, you can just use, store-bought broth. Make sure it's gluten-free though. And then we're going to add in our bacon and our celery and onion mixture here that we cooked up. And then we're going to stir this. And it will get your gluten-free breadcrumbs here. I will get them a little bit soggy, so you just kind of want to mix it around. Okay, so if there is a little bit too much liquid in it, you can always strain it out. Next, we're going to add 4 eggs to this mixture. We're going to stir in the eggs. The last ingredient will be our about a fourth a cup to a half a cup of gluten-free flour. The last touch here, you just want to add a little bit of salt, pepper, and nutmeg to taste. And then your stuffing will be ready. And we can stuff the bird. All right, that's the last step here. And we've got our nutmeg. And just stir it in. Okay, so now it's turkey station. So we've made our gluten-free stuffing, and I like to stuff the bird. It's your preference. So I'm going to stuff a little bit of the stuffing in there. I just think it makes a nicer, richer tasting bird. And then whatever stuffing you don't use, you can go ahead and put in another pan and just cook in the oven for 45 minutes. So let's go ahead and stuff a little bit of this into the bird here. And you want to open up just where this neck cavity is and just add a little bit of stuffing. You don't want to make it too full here. Okay, that should be good. So the remaining stuffing that we have here, we will go ahead and put into a pan, and then like I said at the end, once the bird's almost done, about 45 minutes, you just want to pop in the rest of it in the oven. Okay, so now we're ready to get our bird in the oven. So we've got it stuffed, We have our extra stuffing here. Doesn't it look amazing? Once it's cooked, it's going to taste incredible. So I'm going to put this to the side. And I prefer to use the turkey bags here. You can just purchase at the store. It's, you know, your preference, but I prefer to use that because I think it locks in the juices. So the first thing you want to do though before you put the turkey into the bag is you want to add a tablespoon of flour. So as you can see, there is a lot of just flour and gluten just all around this holiday. So it's nice to know that, you know, it's going to be gluten-free. You're using your gluten-free flour here. And you put the gluten-free flour, again, I'm just using the rice flour in the bag. Just a tablespoon of it, and you just want to shake it up before you put your turkey in there. It just makes sure that the bag doesn't burst while it's cooking. So now that we've kind of shaken the flour about, I've got some vegetables chopped up here. I've got some onions, some celery, and some carrots. So we're going to put that on the bottom of the bag, and we're going to place the turkey on top of the vegetables. And the vegetables in there with the bag with the turkey just helps to give you a much more savory flavor to the turkey. So we're going to put our root vegetables in here. And then, like I said, we just want to place the bird right on top of these vegetables, and then we're going to put it in our pan. And our oven's already ready at 350. We'll put it in there. Just keep in mind, any turkey, basically what you want to do, if it's stuffed, it's about 15 minutes a pound. So this is a 13-pound turkey, so it's going to be a little under 3.5 hours. If it's unstuffed, it's typically about 12 minutes a pound. So that's your cooking instructions. So let's go ahead and get this turkey in the oven. Make sure, too, that it's breast side up. You know, I have been known to put chickens upside down before, which does make the breast very, very juicy, but, you know, you don't want to screw up your first Thanksgiving. So make sure it's breast side up. And just on top of those vegetables. Now, after you have the turkey in there, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, so I've washed my hands because I just touched that bird there. So now we've got the bird in the bag, and we're just going to kind of get some of the air out here. Remember, it's sitting on top of the vegetables. And then we're going to use our little zip tie here that comes with the bag and close it up. After you do that, you're going to want to cut into the bag on the top, probably around 6 slits. Not huge slits, maybe a ½ inch each. But that way it helps you to get the steam out while it's cooking, but also throughout the process, if you have the slits, you can actually baste the bird with the juices, and it just makes for a much better bird here. So let's go ahead and cut about 6 slits in here. All right, so we've got the slits in the back. Now we are going to go ahead and move this big bad boy into our roasting pan. And we're going to go ahead and put it in the oven, like I said, 15 minutes a pound because it's stuffed, so it'll be about roughly under 3.5 hours. So let's go ahead and get him in there. All right, so we're back, and we have about an hour left until our turkey's ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start the process of making the gravy. So I've already got 3 tablespoons of olive oil in my pan on medium-high heat. And I'm going to go ahead and add about 5 or 6 chopped onions, which I've already had prepared, to this. And you want to cook the onions until they are brown. And when I say brown, I mean brown, brown, brown. And I'll show you what that looks like. But it'll take a while, and you want to make sure that you cook them slowly. So I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit, because if you cook the onions too fast, then your gravy will taste a little bit bitter, and you don't want bitter gravy. So I went ahead and added these onions. I'm going to stir them around so that they get coated in olive oil, and we're going to leave that sitting here for a little bit. And let me go ahead and open this up, and let's go ahead and baste our turkey. So now that it's only got about an hour left of cooking time, there are a lot of juices flowing into the bag of the turkey, so we want to take a little baster here and baste our turkey with it. So it's pretty simple. You just have your baster here, and that's why you split the holes. You can make the holes a little bit bigger if you need to, and you just find the areas where you can find the liquid from the bird. And then you go ahead and you just go ahead and baste your turkey with that liquid, and it gives the nice brown coating on there. You just want to take all that juice and just put it around all on the turkey. Okay, so this is about how brown you want your onions. And then what you want to do is you want to take some of the liquid from your turkey and add it to this pan. So let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to open up the oven. And then grab some of this liquid out of the turkey. And I'm going to add it here to my onions. Okay, so I've added some of the drippings to the onions here, and we're making the gravy. So I'm going to use some pre-purchased gluten-free chicken stock. I use the Pacific brand, and I'm just going to add it here to make our gravy. Each one of these is 1 cup, so I'll probably use 2 of them. Just put 2 cups in there of the chicken stock. You're going to continue to let it simmer for a little bit, and then to thicken it, you're going to want to add some gluten-free flour, so some of that rice flour we used earlier. So we'll just let this boil a little bit with onions in there and the chicken stock, and then in a little bit we'll add the flour to it. Alright guys, so now we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to the gravy just to taste, and then you want to add about, just a little bit of gluten-free flour so you can thicken up the gravy here. So let's do that, and then after we do that, we're going to strain the gravy because, as you know, there's a bunch of onion pieces in here, so we want to strain that out. So just salt it a little bit, add some pepper, and then we want to thicken it up because it's really liquidy right now from the broth. So add a little bit, and then I'll stir that around. And then you just continue to add until it's the consistency that you want. Okay, so now we have the gravy at the correct consistency. So again, if you need to thicken it up, just add a little bit of gluten-free flour, or if it's too thick, then you can add some more broth or water. And then I'm just going to strain it here into a bowl so that we can get all of the onions out. Alright guys, so our feast is done. So you can see how beautiful our gluten-free turkey came out with the stuffing. The basting really made this nice brown top coat here. We also have some gluten-free Udi's French rolls, but on my blog I do have a recipe for pumpkin corn muffins, which are delicious. So if you can eat corn, go to my blog, again, celiacinrolando.com. And I've got some other recipes on my blog as well. Obviously, we've got the side of stuffing that didn't fit in the turkey. We just baked again for 45 minutes in the oven. We've got our gravy here, which we made together, just some regular mashed potatoes. And then if we move this way, I've got my family recipe of a macaroni and cheese recipe that we actually made gluten-free, so that's on my blog as well. We've got some green beans, some cranberry sauce made from scratch, and we've got an apple pie that's gluten-free, as well as a beautiful marble pumpkin cheesecake with a nice gluten-free ginger snap crust. So all of this stuff is safe for celiac, safe for people that are gluten-free, and from my family to yours, happy holidays. And as my husband likes to call it, they croutonize, so they're kind of like croutons. Yeah, sure, I'm just gonna go. So I actually... Should I go do with croutonize?
If you can get through it without laughing.
And then you've got your own homemade, extremely hot, what do you call this? Broth. You don't want to show my oven, it's disgusting.